Welcome to the Wake.Show. As everybody knows, a show needs an intro. This is that intro. I am Fisher, your host on this beautiful Monday. Chris is back from Nashville. He says he is on his way, but he's already here. It was too late. I was going live right as you were coming in.
It was awesome, man.
It was too right as you was coming, and I already picked my lyrics.
I see that.
I don't have what it takes to to do that kind of stuff on the fly.
So yeah, you have more in you than you give yourself credit, my friend.
Good morning, everybody. I want to make sure that we are streaming and you can hear us just fine, and it looks like you can. Good morning, Carrie, my wife, Steve, Chris Johnson, my cousin Maribel. How are you doing this morning, Chris? Welcome back.
Hey, man, I am happy to be here, brother.
Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about what you were doing, and right after I bring in our sponsor for the first 15 minutes. Good morning, Single Source Insurance. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, got to hit this button right here. Boom. I just records the show is all. All right, so welcome back, Steve. Good morning. And well, first of all, Chris, can we can you like sing any part of the song or play any part of the song, or now that you're in this process?
I got the guitar downstairs, so we'll go back and grab it.
I mean, so how does that work? Because last Thursday, Chris flew out to go collaborate with country music star Chase Rice in Nashville. You were there for a little bit more than a day.
Yeah,
a little bit more than.
Yeah. So we flew out. So it was Wednesday we flew out, and then Thursday we wrote on Thursday. So it was like a whole day of us getting together and hanging out, and then focus, and then flew back on Friday. Yeah, man, it was great.
Well, how do you do that? How do you just go? How do you write a song, or did you guys already have a song that you knew you were going to work on, and you were just going up there to work out the parts?
Yeah. You remember before I left, I had like the first.
Hi, Sam. Hold on. Good morning, Sam.
Sam.
We already miss you.
It's not the same.
Although we were really excited about doing a show together.
Yes.
This morning,
years in the making.
Really do miss you, Sam. But,
absolutely. Come back, Sam. Just come back.
Thank you very much, by the way. I need to push out the show.
That's true.
There we go.
We need Sam to be here. She's just not the same.
Hold on here. I'm trying.
My bird.
All right. So anyway, tell me about the song.
Yeah. So before we left, remember, Carrie was her name. Anyways, I had just a verse and a chorus, and so that's when we're on the tour bus, and I played the verse and the chorus for him. He liked it, said let's check it out, and so that's what we came up there, and so we worked. It was with him, me, and John Knight. John Knight is written for Darius Rucker, Kenny Chesney, Thomas Rhett, Dierks Bentley. He is actually, I think, the dude who wrote "Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy."
Okay. All right.
So the three of us were in Chase's house, and let's just go. So I'm just playing it, and it was very cool. I'd never written with anyone before. It's always just kind of been a solo deal, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was very energetic. And it was just, at first, like I was feeling, it's funny, like, you have the respect of, this, platinum artist, and they've got #1 songs, and then it's just me, and so kind of deferring at first, and then it was just
but I know you, Chris. You don't give a damn if you were sitting there with Bono.
It's true. It was just like I've learned respect, so I just sit back and just kind of, but then it was like, all right, well, let me just do what I do, and so I'm like, I need a piece of paper. And that's how I always write. I just write everything out, and then I play.
What's the writing? The lyrics, or you're writing down?
I was writing lyrics down.
Okay.
So you guys want to? Can I tell you the lyrics? Like the whole thing? I just say it.
Well, I'm very curious about that, because now that how does this work? Let's talk a business first, and a little bit like the legalese here,
right?
Because now that you've hooked up with this guy, you guys aren't just hanging out and writing songs. You're writing this for him, right?
Right.
So, how does that usually work? Because I'd imagine they don't want that song leaked, or too much of it leaked, before their record company decides to release it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not in his name. You know what I mean? So if I were to sing it and play it, no one's going to really geek out about it. They're like, oh, it's a good song. But if it was like, this is Chase and you hear his voice and whatnot, that could be a little different,
Okay.
But because I am a co-writer on it, like it's kind of like Cruise. So he co-wrote "Baby Was Song" with Florida Georgia Line, and so at his shows he's able to play Cruise at his shows because he co-wrote that song. It's partly his. So I have every right to play a song that's partly mine. So that's how that works.
Okay.
So but what's going to happen is now the process is you have a song that's written, and then we have to find the correct producer. And so, which is really interesting about Chase. Chase is on it. I'm going to make a bold prediction that in the next like 2 years, maybe even 3 years, he's going to be one of the biggest names in music. A bold prediction. And
I put him on the Spotify yesterday.
Yeah,
or
right
on
on,
Saturday when I was cleaning
right
the house.
on. I mean, it's just his whole trajectory is like this, and so with so what's happening is he sent me a text April 13th. It was a song from AJR, Sober Up.
Oh,
he's like,
wow.
Hey, yeah, he's like, yo, man, I want the production to sound something like this.
That's a cool song. That is a great song. Yeah.
So check out Chase's gift from, he has the same site. So just yesterday he sends me a text. Guess who is going to produce this song?
Dr. Dre.
The people who did AJR Sober Up.
Oh, wow.
So that's what we're looking for.
Cool.
Right. So what they need is I'm going to actually go downstairs and record just an acoustic version of it, just nice and clean, something done, and then send it to them and then let them use their, magic and make it work. So so that's what's going to happen. So we find the producer, they record it. Once it's recorded.
I'm giddy for you.
Yeah, dude, you understand. It's just like, it's cool. I remember, I told you about my family, there's shamans and whatnot in my family. This was told to me August the 4th, 2015.
What was told you? Oh, something about chasing rice.
Nah, you funny. What he said was, your train is coming.
He's coming around the bend.
Someone's gonna see you play on the beach, and then they're gonna open up for him, and you're gonna be on. Boom, and that's exactly what went down. Saw me on the beach, and now I'm on this train, and it's really cool. So, so then we just watch, and it's a waiting game for me at this point. Just kind of, I can't wait. It's just I'm excited, just something different to see a song that I wrote and co-wrote and watch it just climb the charts. I mean, listen, this has potential. This song has potential of being like a top 3, maybe even number 1 song. No lie. Everyone, John, who I respect so much, afterwards he was like, dude, this is amazing. And for him to say that, wow, it's very catchy, lots of hooks, and happy it's got that positive feel that I bring.
I listening to Chase Rice over the weekend, like I said, put him on my Spotify. The version of the song that you sent me on Friday or Thursday night was very Chris McCarty-esque.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very curious what it's going to sound like once those producers get a hold of it, because I didn't hear a song of his that sounded anything like that.
Right. And that's where I think he's trying to, as an artist, he's evolving. And he doesn't want to make it like country. He just wants to make music, and he loves country. He's from the country. That's a Southern boy, But I think he, as an artist, doesn't want to be confined in anything. So input Chris McCarty, you can't define me by anything. I just love music. So you put that together, and it's going to be very cool to see what happens, man. There you go. Lambs and Lions.
I pulled up his website here. Let's see. Tour media. Let's see if there's just any pictures that we can share. All right, so here's him hunting there on the side. Whoops.
I have a very cool hunting story.
Do you really?
So we're in the middle of recording or writing, right? And John stands up because he's got like the man cave, and that's where we did the writing. And John goes to the window, and he lives on like 195 acres, right? And there's this turkey that's just walking, and John goes, "Oh, there's a turkey." Chase bolts out of the room. Next thing you know, I'm looking at the window. He's got a shotgun, and he's like, Perchy trying to get this bird. Next thing you hear is boom, like you see this, and this bird comes flying away. He's like, "Oh man, oh man,
that is too
funny. Can we finish the song? My bad, man. I just
what a great
it's just
story.
Me, buddy. It's just me. It just came out.
What a great story.
Yeah, and I put it on Snapchat so some people can see it.
You got him out there with his gun?
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't know
funny.
It was him from the snap, but now you know the story. It was just really funny. He just chased this thing.
Have you ever been hunting or had any inclination to?
No, not at all.
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm not trying to be. I just, again, we talk about it. There was a picture of him as a little kid. He's maybe 3. Got a gun. His dad's teaching him. So that's in his blood. That's his DNA. Right. It's just not mine. My dad didn't do that. You know what I mean?
There's a lot.
We had a lot of good conversations. He and I. We talked about the N-word. And what it was, he was saying,
hey, buddy, now that I've got you as a friend,
no, it wasn't even like that. It was so cool. It was just more I just said, I don't use the word. And he's like, you don't? I said, no, I wasn't raised like that. You know, it's like, I feel like that would be me being a hack. Like, that wasn't in any narrative of my parents, in our family. And so I just feel like I would be fake if I was using it. And so I stand behind that. And he was like, yo, I really respect that. I'm like, yeah, it's just, you know, and so the same thing as him in the hunting. Like, I respect it. Like, that's your thing. I can't question it. Like, it's just, you know who you are. But we're both staying true to ourselves. And I think that's why we got paired up.
I was wondering if he was going to ask for a card so he could drop the N-word every now and again. Now that
Chase is really cool, man. He's a very cool, very spiritual. You know, I told him about the book Conversations with God, and he ordered it. So like I'm there, and it's like, oh, it's kind of cool. You know, he gave me we talk a lot. He sent me a very cool, and I'm gonna take this from now on. Everyone's gonna see it. It's my new quote from my life. I got it from Chase, and he sent it to me. It was, my only prayer is that when I die, all of hell rejoices because I'm no longer in the fight. That's the shit.
I like that.
Right? So
well,
that's
speaking of which, let's go ahead and hit our On This Day and get to the quote of the day, the first quote of the day without Sam. Without Samantha Miller. And good morning, everybody. It's good to see everybody here. Robert, Kurt, Adam, Shane, Deidre. Good morning, Deidre.
She's sick. I don't know why she's on the thing. She should go to bed.
Deidre. Well, our voices are
soothing and healing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why
right.
Everyone is in
Here's some healing words going out to Deidre.
You can either grow something, you can destroy something with your words, the power of the tongue.
Right. Ooh, we're going to talk about that today on the show too.
Cool.
Because I told you we're going to talk about cussing kids.
That's a great.
And cussing around kids.
This is perfect. I was having a good conversation with a friend of mine this weekend. Perfect.
Okay. Because I've told you the story about my niece when. Listen, we were at a wedding reception, so there's already a couple of pops in us Fishers. And my niece, who's 8 years old, I don't remember how we got into this topic, but I just asked her in front of everybody, what's the, have you ever heard, or what's the worst thing you ever heard? Yeah, you ever heard your mom or dad say? And she said, I mean, she didn't even skip it. She didn't look at her parents for clearance, nothing. Her parents were sitting right there, and she goes, I heard my mom say effing bitch. she hits the hard F and everything. And of course, so I see.
What was everyone's reaction?
We just dying laughing. And so I saw her yesterday.
The niece.
I saw her yesterday.
How old is she now?
She's still 8.
Okay.
She turns 9 in July. But the first words out of her mouth, I'll go ahead and I'll let this cat out of the bag, and then we'll come back to the conversation. I hope, if my ADD doesn't get the best of me. But as soon as I walk in the door, it's not, hey, Uncle Chris. No, actually, I did get a hug. Hey, Uncle Chris, I got a hug.
True.
And then she steps back and she goes, I heard a story about Uncle Kevin, which is one of my brothers.
I love Kevin.
Oh, yeah, you've been to Kevin's house or his old house in Ocoee. I heard did he really have a tick on his balls?
Oh my God. What did you say to that? What did you say?
I said, well, at the time, I go, yes, that is a true story. But at the time, you know, because he was probably like 4 when it happened. 5, I don't know. He was young, 4, 5, 6. Right. maybe in the 5, 6 range. But we didn't call it when it happened. We didn't say balls, of course, right?
Right.
So we didn't go with a cutesy term.
You said testicles,
scrotum,
because you're scrotum.
So yeah, I go. Yes, it's true, and that's also the day we all learned the word scrotum. So that's what I said to my 8-year-old niece. All right, so I want to come back.
Did you make it a song? Scrotum, scrotum. It's just a little sack of skin. Scrotum, scrotum. It's what you keep your testes in.
Cut and print. There we go. Another hit. The hits just keep on coming.
The rest one and now they won't stop.
And I feel very honored that the great Chris McCarty collaborates with Chase Rice on Thursday and then collaborates with me on Monday.
The scrotum song. That's the new intro to Wake.Show. That's horrible. Let's act like I didn't do that. I apologize, everybody. I apologize.
Do not apologize for that.
We can move on from here.
You may have had to apologize a little bit for that Baby in a Box song that you improvised a few weeks ago. But other than that, Sam's not here anymore to be offended. By the way, it was a Baby in a safe haven box, okay? Not anything horrible.
Yes.
Sharon says, I'm here, Chris, on my real
girl.
desktop, and I can see you in a big pic. It is cool. I'm homesick today. Oh, Sharon's feeling a little under the weather, too.
Man,
So
something's going on. Well, we're glad you're here, Mom. Thank you for being... Sharon, you're loyal. We need to meet you.
Oh, no,
I need to meet her.
Yeah, you need to meet her. I've known her for years. Yeah. No, you met her. We went to her classroom.
That's Sharon?
That's Sharon.
Sharon, you're special. Very.
Yes.
Listen, any teacher out there, I love you. You guys are the most underpaid, hardworking individuals who I can only take my kids in doses. And you got kids that aren't even yours. Yep. And you have to stomach the little mouths and all the So listen, I say thank you. That is just a great, thank you, Sharon. Thank you. It was a teacher that put me on my path, by the way. I was in 3rd grade. Roberta Zibanoff, who we're still in touch.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was in 3rd grade, and we did a little talent show thing, and we did it was Paul Simon Bodyguard, or Call Me Out. And she pulled me to the side, and I'll never forget the way she was looking at me. Her eyes were wide, and it was like as if I was in trouble. And she was like, Chris, you really need to think about doing that. You are so gifted. You are so good at entertaining. I want you to really think about that. I still remember 9 years old.
Wow.
And here I am.
Because you don't have teachers say that too often to kids, because they know even if a kid's somewhat talented, the chances of them turning that into a career is slim and none.
Right.
And so you're like, oh, make sure you keep that in your life, but get to college. You know?
Right. And
you
Chase told me a story about a teacher that said the opposite to him. Like his dad was awesome, took him to he and his brother. His dad, what he used to do was take the kids on an adventure. So he had 3 brothers. It was 2 brothers, so 3 boys. And his dad would every once in a while grab one of the boys and just take him somewhere. So this time, my dad takes Chase to Disney World. Just he and Chase Disney World. Chase comes back. It's on Monday. Chase comes back with a Mickey Mouse shirt. What's the teacher say? Oh, so you were skipping school to be with Mickey, huh? And Chase felt, a little kid, like tiny, felt horrible. So of course Chase's dad squashed that the next day, which sounds like something I'd do. So but yeah, parent teachers, man, like these are still kids, man. Just,
that's not it's not like the teacher went up to Chase Rice and said, hey, I heard you singing in the hallway, don't ever do that again.
This is true, but still, here's something that Chase is holding. He's got the Mickey shirt. He's so proud, and this dude is coming down on him because he went to go be with his dad. And again, little kids, man, we're gods to them. We're giants to some of them. So just be careful, be mindful what you say.
Not my nieces and that. I'm no giant to them. They don't give a damn. They're the giants.
Yeah, right. They run stuff in the fisher house. So it's on this day. Sorry, guys. We're just all over the place.
I also messed up with her again because one of the things that I've always called them is the littles. How are you? I'll say little, hi little. Right? And so,
little.
Yeah, like a month or 2 ago, or the last time I did that, the 8-year-old, Lily, goes, she didn't like it. She had that face on. She's like, why do you call us little? Oh. She wants to be a big girl, right? That kind of thing. And so I go, I'm sorry. I'm just so big. Everybody's little to me. I call everybody little.
And good. Look at you. Way to save that. Did she smile? I'm sure she was cool after that.
Yes. Yep.
See? Yep. But now you're like, whoa. All
but then I forgot. So when I saw her yesterday, I go, hi, little. And she gave me that look again. And I go, oh, I'm sorry. And so.
Little big girl. Bigger than you were. Just a little bigger than you were yesterday.
It's funny when people hop on here, Chris, and say, hi, Chris. We don't know who they're talking to.
That's true.
Do you know Kimber? Yes. Kimber Moon?
Just say, yeah. Sounds good. My Kimber Moon.
Sharon, she goes, I didn't remember Chris being at my class. It had to be a while ago. Wow, teaching. I think that was Sharon. Yeah.
Largo Middle School, right?
Yeah, Largo Middle School.
Look, Karen, Sharon, excuse me, if you go on my Facebook, there's a picture of Chris and I in your classroom. I guess it was I just did it recently for another school, but it was what was it, the care teacher day week?
Right.
Well, I forget what it was, but if you go on my Facebook and scroll down, and I guess 14, 13, one of those, you'll find a picture in the classroom. You'll see us.
All right.
If you're 6, so maybe you have time.
She also said that she was, her and her husband were right in front of you there at the Sugar Sands Festival. You played right in front of them.
Hey, that's awesome.
So, I hope you feel better, Sharon.
Yes.
Thank you for being
blessings
here.
to you, Sharon.
And she is awesome. So before we left to go to Orlando for a concert, Lily trapped me again, and she goes,
Little
Lily, the little, and she goes, what are you going to call us instead of little? And I go, how about the awesomes? And she just smiled.
Awesome.
I like that.
See, man, you're made, man. You're going to be such a good dad whenever you ever decide to do it. Even if you don't, you still be great.
It's a touching Fisher family moment.
It is, man. That's huge, brother.
The
awesomes.
Great American Teaching. That's what it's called.
That's what it was. Yeah. So I just did that too.
I can't believe you don't remember that, Sharon. I brought Chris out. Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, it was about 3 or 4 years ago.
I'm gonna find it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
she doesn't remember me.
Yeah, how the heck does Chris walk into your classroom and you not remember that? It might be one of those days that it's so hectic for the teachers themselves. It's so frantic, trying to get people. Because wasn't the guy that came in after you and I carrying like machine guns or something? Wasn't he from the military?
I don't remember, man. That was
or at a K9
that was
unit
a
or
rough
something.
time for both you and I. I think I just came from my surgery. It was just all.
And then
remember that? Oh, jeez.
And then how kids can just be brutally honest, right?
Yes.
So my wife Lauren cut her hair significantly, like inches and inches.
How long ago was this?
Not within the last month or two.
Okay.
Right after whatever. We have the last month.
Right.
And so as soon as Lily sees her, she looks up and she noticed. She goes, "You cut your hair?" And goes, "Yeah, I liked it better long."
Oh, rough. But I'm sure Lauren's like, whatever, it's a kid.
You gotta love those kids.
Cool.
All right.
But
let's get to on this day.
Did you like it cut? Just say yeah, brother.
Oh yeah, my wife is beautiful, and it doesn't matter. I don't care how long her hair is, how short it is, if she even has any. She's my wife, and she's beautiful.
You're beautiful. On this day,
Robbie Perry, hashtag Chris McCarty, hashtag my people,
my dog.
All right, on this day, we hit on this day for a reason, and that is so we can go, oh wow, that was that long ago, and two, so we also put today's headlines into perspective, and we start getting worked up about, oh, may this happen, this may happen. Chances are, even if those things do happen, life goes on. It'll be a footnote in history, and one day be on this day. And thank you so much once again to the sponsor of the first 15 minutes of the show, Single Source Insurance. Goodbye, Single Source Insurance, man. At the top, they have the Scream is recovered in 1994. So the famous painting by Edvard Munch was recovered almost 3 months after it was stolen from a museum. That's the headline. But the headline really should be, if you go down to World War I, well, there's a couple things. The Lusitania sinks. That was a huge moment in history in 1915. The British ocean liner Lusitania was torpedoed without warning by a German submarine off the south coast of Ireland. Within 20 minutes, the vessel sank. Let me do this. Into the Celtic Sea. Or is that, Celtic Sea? Or Celtic?
Celtic.
Almost 2,000 passengers and crew were drowned. Of the 1959, 1,198 drowned, including 128 Americans. That attack aroused considerable indignation in the United States, but Germany defended the action, noting that it had issued warnings of its intent to attack all ships, neutral or otherwise, that entered the war zone. Well, you effed up, Germany. You effed up.
Yeah, that was it's a rough one, man.
When World War I erupted in 1914, President Woodrow Wilson pledged neutrality for the United States, but that all changed. And come to find out, so that was World War I. So 30 years later, in World War II, on this same day, Germany surrenders unconditionally to the Allies. Also on this day, satisfaction comes to Keith Richards. I didn't click on this earlier, Chris, because of the way that it's worded. Because I want to talk to you, ask you some stuff about it as a writer.
Right.
Do things come to you? Like, do you feel like it flows through you when you're writing lyrics or music, or is it a process that is it's you? It's not, because it says satisfaction comes to Keith Richards.
And this is funny because after we finished writing, I said to the guys, I'm like, hey, thank God. I said, these words and everything comes from somewhere, and the two of them are like, yeah, we agree, like, yeah, good call, So I don't know. I feel like they come from somewhere, man.
Did you know Satisfaction was written in Clearwater, Florida?
I did not know that.
In early morning hours of May 7th, 1965, in a Clearwater, Florida motel room, a bleary-eyed Keith Richards awoke, grabbed a tape recorder, and laid down one of the greatest pop hooks of all time. It was the opening riff of I Can't Get No Satisfaction. He promptly fell back asleep.
Dude, that's a great story. That's a great story.
Why it gave me goosebumps.
That's a great story. No, that stuff happens, man. It's true. Sometimes you're just minding your business and then you hear something. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's probably, remember when I wrote Butterfly, I was eating breakfast and I literally just went, I've seen miracles and I've seen falling rain. I've seen all the good and all the bad. What men can claim but this. And I just shot up. Just don't talk to me. Just ran, grabbed a piece of paper and would just in it. So yeah, it come, man. It come.
I love hearing that stuff, being in radio for over 25 years and meeting so many different artists along the way. Everybody has their own process and, a different way that they do things. But there's been way too many people over the years that have talked about how things just seem to float like it wasn't them. They just, like you just said, stuff started happening in their head and they just grabbed a pen and started writing it down or hit record on something and started, playing away. And, usually those people too, when you talk more to them, they feel like that flow comes from somewhere else, whether they believe in, the one God kind of thing or they're connected to the universe in a certain way. But they feel like in those moments, it's not them. They're just, they're a vessel. Something's flowing through them.
No, I'll say something about like the flowing. I'm still trying to find this picture with me and you in Karen's class. When I was married, I couldn't write a song. I wrote 2 songs. When Jahani was born, obviously was elated and ecstatic. And that's when I wrote Castle. And then on the end of the relationship, I wrote, Leave Me Alone. Which
is that one a hit yet? It's on its way.
It's a good song, man. You just got to listen to it. So if you're curious, you can see in my relationship when I'm really happy, go look for Castle. Right? It's like Save the World. It's for my kids. You can do whatever you want. And then at the end, the only song I wrote for my ex was Leave Me Alone. So you guys can listen to it.
When you reflect on that, because the artist brain, in order for a lot of people to write and be creative, there has to be a certain their brain has to be allowed to kind of just get out there, right?
Yeah.
But when you are, so this is a lot of times while they'll say, oh, a marriage has ruined this particular person or ruined that particular person, because a marriage normally is, traditionally, it's a 50-50 split. Well, in theory, 50-50.
Nothing's 50-50, bro. Only a quarter and things of that nature, yeah.
Well, at any given moment, it could be 70-30, but hopefully over the long haul, it's closer to a 50-50. Yeah. But anyway.
Boom, I found it.
You found the picture? All right. Sharon, we're going to show you this picture here in a second. Or if you want to.
Here you go, brother.
Yeah. All right. And it says the year. Did you find the year?
2013. Well, scroll up a little bit. It should probably just there you go.
All right. So this was 2013.
What's the date? Look at that.
Look at that. Just 2013.
Right under my name.
Here we go. And there we are in your class. Does that look familiar, Sharon?
You can just scroll in and zoom in if you have to.
Yeah, that is Sharon's class. Well, I'm trying to find Sharon now.
Maybe she took the picture.
Oh, you're probably right. That's why I don't see her in there. But there you go. There you go, Sharon. See, proof. We were in your classroom.
We were there doing good stuff for kids.
Yeah, there we are
back in 2013, which is another reason I tell people why we have this show, because behind closed doors we're doing good things for people. We really want to see mankind and everything go and positively and smoothly for people, and that's why I believe that we have this platform and a voice, because we're just 2 good dudes. Do you guys agree? You guys keep coming and seeing us. We're good people. Yeah, we're good people, man. I don't add that. I know I'm a great dude.
All right. So let me.
If you say you're a great person, then all that does is allow you to be more of that. So it's not an ego. Okay. I'm a great dude. It's like, no, I'm a great person because I do great things for other people. You know what I mean? Like I have a good friend. I was telling him about you get a #1 hit. How much money can you make? And I told him, they were like, whoa. And like, what are you gonna do? And I named I think 8 things. One of them was for me. And they noticed that, like, man, that's so cool. Like, you're not even saying anything. Like, you keep talking about giving it to other people. I'm like, yeah, well, what else is there to do?
I guess I don't like it because we have a tendency to put people up on pedestals. And so that person's a good person. That person's a great person or a bad person. And actually, Shriner and I kind of got into this one day on the air. And he was frustrated because of whatever. And he goes, well, I'm a good person. And I go, no, you're not.
Oh, wait, what was the reasoning why him not being a good person?
I go, no, you're not. You're a person who who focuses on being good and doing good, and I know that, but there's no such thing as a good person. No,
that's not true. Why would you say that?
Because I don't believe
a good person.
I don't believe there's a such thing as a good person or a bad person. I think it's a person, and well, for most of us, we do our best to do good in most situations.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. You're saying that we're all
people. We're all fallible.
But you know what it is? It's just communication, in which we also understand it's like the least effective way to communicate. I mean, like, you know, there's action, there's deeds, there's, you know, you can speak more, do more, speak less type situation. So I think in that way, it's like if I say love, what's my definition of love and your definition of love are different based on the things you've experienced, right? So I understand what you mean by there's no good person. There's just people that do. I hear you. But I think that there are people who tend to do, as you say, good, we deem as, you know, positive, uplifting, blah, 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 tend to do more of that than the opposite, you know?
Well, and also you get it.
But I know what you mean. It's like, you know, guns don't kill people, people kill people. I hear you. I know what you're saying. Same kind of concept, right? Do guns kill people or do people kill people? So are there good people or are there just people?
People use guns to kill people.
And what kind of people are they?
Well, sometimes they're good people that are trying to do good. Military.
You feel what I'm saying? That's what I mean. The thing about communication is just words. It's like it's so easy to be misinterpreted.
Well, but I also bring that up because so many times, so many people we deem as good. Oh, that person seems like a really good person, and it's not fair because. Let's go back to George Steinbrenner, all right? And I know that some of you have heard me use this example before, but this was an epiphany moment for me, and that's why I keep coming back to it. But after George Steinbrenner passed away, you're watching ESPN, you're flipping through, they're doing all these different things, talking about him, and you know, there's this dichotomous. Is that
dichotomy?
Did I get the word?
Dichotomous. I think it's right. Dichotomous.
You know, kind of nature of him, just like everybody else, and so he was a notorious.
Oh, you still might. I'm like dichotomic. All right. Anyways, go ahead.
Dichomachalu. So anyway, you could tell stories all day long about how good of a man he was and how much he gave to the community, how much of a philanthropist he was. But you could also tell stories all day long of what kind of an a-hole he was and an authoritarian and this and this and this and this, right?
Now I know what you're talking about now.
And so the guy, one reporter goes, you could write 2 books about George Steinbrenner. One where he's the hero and one where he's the exact opposite. And both books would be true. And that's why we have to do a good job of making sure and always realizing we don't have enough pages even for one of those books usually when it comes to judging other people. And if we for everybody, we had to take both those books and put them together as one book, and then you get a full picture
human
of
being. And that's the truth, because I guarantee, I mean, I think that you nailed it, and I'm glad that you're on that, because we have to, with ourselves, look, we're 2-part beings, man. And then dichotomy. There's the side, the light, the dark. There just is. And so I guarantee you there's someone out there that thinks I'm the worst person on the planet or an awful person.
Right. You're the exact opposite of a good person.
I've heard it. You know, and it's like, but then there are people who are like, dude, Chris is great. So you're right. I think that's great. So I think, yeah, you're right, man. Maybe they're just people, and I love it, man. You've changed me today. I like that.
But I also know what you're saying and what most people say when they are saying that too. They're not making this absolute definitive statement. That person is 100% good.
Yeah.
They're good. Everything they do are good. But when somebody says I'm a good person or that person's a good person, they usually mean they're a human who focuses on being good.
Right. And that's good. I think we should all focus on, you know, the positive aspects of life, and you know, we should all really focus on that. I mean, you know, we're gonna slip up.
We got caught passing notes in school.
We really did. We're trying to be slick up, you know. But yeah, let's do that. So,
all right, you know. A couple positive things today. First of all, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Congratulations to the Lightning. Now I can do this a little bit more. There we go. Congratulations to the Tampa Bay Lightning. And this afternoon, 5 o'clock, Tampa Bay Lightning Eastern Conference Finals single game tickets go on sale. That's today at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock if you want to try to get in there. And I don't think we know who is going to be next on that one, who they're going to be playing. Also, Booger McFarland.
Who's it between, though? Washington, I think, and is it Washington and no, it can't be. It can't be
Pittsburgh.
Because they did that in the finals, so it can't be the same teams.
It looks like it's going to be the Capitals or Pittsburgh, the Penguins.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, Washington is the Capitals. Sometimes good people make bad choices, and some people are just bad people, full of hate. Sorry, Chris, you don't like that word. Thank you, Nikki. Nikki's paying attention.
Way to call it out, Nikki.
So that's exciting.
I do think there are some evil people in the world, man. I think that we live here.
Okay, well, can we define evil? Like, what do you mean by evil?
That's a good question, man.
Like,
what does it derive from?
Because what do you mean? Like, if you really believe it? So let's start
evil,
with what Nikki said.
Okay, so
there's people that are full of hate. So no matter what comes their way, a positive, it doesn't matter. They just constantly go to a dark place, a place of hate, of what, lashing out, trying to take down other people. What do you mean by you believe that there's just, so you believe, well now we're going back. You're saying, no, I truly believe there are some people that are just bad people in the world.
I listen, man, people like the Dalai Lama, just good dude, you know? And I feel like because we are in the dichotomy and light and good, and there are elevated, you know, there's extreme good and extreme bad, and there's angels, there's demons. I think that's all here on this plane. So I feel like I've run across some angelic people who, man, just exude the light, and you feel it, you know it, you love being around in their presence. And maybe it's children. There are many who are closer to back to the other side. But would
it be those who give versus those who take?
No, a taker and a giver doesn't necessarily mean that you're bad or evil. I think that the people who tend to take, I feel like in their evolution that they're maybe slaves to their ego, because I read that you could either be a slave to your ego or you could be a servant to your soul, which is like God, you know. And so me, as my soul, my spirit, I know that nothing feels better for me than giving. There's nothing I've experienced enough of that in life to know how good it feels, which is why I just love doing it. So I feel like I'm serving my soul. But taking is like me,
right?
And that's me as ego, and so it's like me. I want, and what do I need? And they're not. And so I think it's one or the other. You can't serve two masters. You know what I mean?
I see it tied to like fear and insecurity, because deep down there's a drive that if I don't have this thing, then I'm not secure. I'm not safe.
Right, and
I need to have this thing and this thing.
Thank you.
Right.
And that's what I mean about like your soul. Like my spirit knows that I'm okay. I don't need. You can either be in the world or of the world. If you're in the world, like, this doesn't bother me. If I'm of the world, here's an example, right? If I'm of the world, like, I feel like I am these cups. So if these cups are here, I freak out. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
My ex-wife, she's working. We're all working on stuff, right?
Right.
At this time in her life, I don't know where she's at now. But I was we had a coffee table, the end table in the bed, and there was a book. So the book sat like this, and there was another book that sat like this on top of it, right? So books like this, right? Okay. So it's flat, great, perfect. So book and then book. And she's walking and stops and is like, "Can you move that book?" And I look at it and I go, "Are you serious?" She's like, "Yeah." And you could see her just starting to get so tight. And all I did is I literally just went, "You good now?" And she walked out the room, and I was just like, whoa. That is the example of being of the world. So she needed those books to be in a certain alignment, then she was okay.
Well,
but I don't need that.
That's an anxiety. That's likely an anxiety
and
disorder. And I
understand
issue.
that, but maybe that's the anxiety because you don't understand that you're just floating through, like you aren't these things. You're not. I don't need this to be perfect. I don't need, like, I can sit in a messy spot and I'm okay. Like the world can go crazy around me and I'm cool.
But
I'm
not everybody
part
can.
of the world going crazy.
Right. But you know, those people that have OCD or somewhere on that spectrum, it is their brain is getting fixed. It's like, say in this moment, right? We're sitting here looking right at each other,
right?
And you would think the focus is I'm looking into the camera, or the focus is Chris, or whatever we're talking, right? But let's say there's one thing, I got OCD, and there's one thing, the picture behind Chris is crooked. Well, if I've got a certain amount of OCD where things need to be lined up a certain way in order for me to be comfortable to operate in my environment or get through the day, whatever it may be, well, I can't fully focus on Chris in the conversation because there's a part of my brain, like if you could see the way the brain was working, you would see it just focused right on this little thing in the back that's a little bit crooked, and so I can, and if depending on where you're in the spectrum, it can shut you down. You're like, I'm sorry, we have to stop everything. I got to adjust this thing.
But that would also mean saying that person is of the world. Like you need that. Like my OCD is, my friends will laugh at you. If I'm texting, right, I can't I can't. If I misspell something, I got to go all the way back and I have to fix that.
Very common. Yeah.
I'm like, that's like when people say "your" and they go with "you" and an R. I'm like, are you that lazy? You can't just go Y and an O. You have to be "you are." Like that's my OCD.
Right. So that's you being in. So that's you.
But I don't know. I don't know if that's being of the world or in the world because I can't see those. Are just words. I'm texting it, but I can just say it. It doesn't bother me. But it's just me because maybe my parents were so adamant about us being just
well, you don't
grammatically sound.
What about you? Maybe you just don't. You don't want to look stupid. I think that has something because I come from Ocoee. I dropped out of community college. I didn't get the best grades in school, and I've always had this issue of being a
I dropped out of community college too.
Yeah. By the way, yeah. I had 5 credits to go, 2 classes.
I probably got like all classes to go. I was too busy writing songs and like, dude, you're wasting my time. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, so. Well, that's what happened. Is like in community college, I fell into radio as an intern, and then this was like, well, I'm here.
Well, I'm here. What am I doing here? I remember the conversation with my mom. Like, Mom, I'm wasting everyone's time right now doing this. I just need to do the music. Like, what's your fallback plan? I said, fallback is to make sure that it works. That's my fallback plan. I remember that she didn't like that too much. That I was being smart, but it was being serious. Like, make sure plan A works. Plan B, make sure plan A works. That was it. So I just, and now here we are.
But that's even a better example than my picture because I think more people can relate to the texting one that you're talking about. Is think about how many times you follow up with correcting the one word. Well, for me, I don't care. I'm not losing my mind if somebody uses the wrong "your." I don't care. Right?
I don't
I'm losing my mind if
I just go in my head like, oh, come on. Steve is so lazy. But my bad. I cut you off. I apologize.
No, that's okay. But I think that's a great, a better example for people to relate to is in that moment when it comes to OCD because you can't move on to your next text. You can't move on to your next thing without taking care of this thing first.
You're right. You're right. You nailed it. I do. Like
that's what
I believe coming across intelligent is for me. It's just good. There's respect in it. I notice him just when I speak to people. Like I love getting the compliments about how well behaved my children are. I love getting the compliments about I just love that. I love excellence. And we all love excellence. We do. We love watching LeBron hit the last game winner. We love, Steve Jobs and all that stuff. We love it. And so I don't know. I feel like we should, I don't know, for me, it's just important. This is something that's important to me. But I don't think that I am like of the world. I don't need things to be a certain way and then I'm okay. I'm okay. And that's not, please, I don't want to make sure that I'm not putting anyone down. I don't want you to think I'm better than anyone or trying to put anyone down. I'm just speaking about what works for me. How did I get to this place? I'm not quite sure, and that's part of why we're here. Well, I just want everyone to be there. I want everyone to be okay, man.
And I think I think the truth is more not you are of this world, but you want to always be of this world. But very simply, the universe can throw at you a text message that you spelled wrong, and you're not of that world no more because you're focused on this one little thing that needs to be right before you move on.
It's just for me. Like if I read it, I just go, I just keep moving because a lot of people do it. But yeah, just for me. But here's another example. I no longer have road rage. Well, I never really had rage, but I don't get upset at all in the car. And here
How do
we
you
go.
Do it? Help me.
This is what I did. What happens when you're yelling at someone? Did anything happen, or did you just get scared?
Well, when I'm yelling in my car where nobody can hear me
to someone else because they're not doing something you want. So you're at that point, you're of the world. Well, I need you to do this, and if you get out of line, I'm gonna get upset. But let me ask you a question: do you think they wanted to get in an accident? Because if they wanted to get in an accident, you'd be in the accident. So to err is human. There's billions of people driving. You should be thanking your blessings that nothing happened. You're willing to spend X amount of money to go on a roller coaster ride because you control that. I know. I'm looking for to get scared. Someone came and cut you off. Dude, thank God nothing happened, but you're cursing because of a thought, because of a feeling that you weren't ready to have.
Are you saying that you can't control that reaction in that moment?
Absolutely. I've seen, just ride with me. I'm to the point now where I don't even look. Because I don't even look at the car because I know that when a lot of times people are going to look 9 out of 10 times, it's going to be some negative look. Why would I want to even take that in? But what could I teach someone? If they come in my lane and it's and I drive by them and they do the guilty look to see if I'm looking and I keep going straight, what do I offer them? They're like, man, that person was above that. They didn't even look at, because that's what happened to me. I look over, I
punched out my own windshield while driving. I was so angry.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. You got upset, part of the world. you in your head think you needed this person to do exactly what you wanted them to do. They didn't. But did you get in an accident? Punch the window out if you get in an accident. But nothing happened, Chris. Nothing happened.
I mean, these a couple of big rednecks in a huge truck were next to me, and we were going back and forth. And since I was by myself, I thought maybe it would be a show of strength if I were to punch my own windshield.
Going back and forth about what? Yeah, but going back and forth about what?
We're sitting there. We're on 275.
Okay,
and I'm in the fast lane, right? But it's a Sunday afternoon. There's not a person on the road.
Okay,
and I see this truck coming up like 100 miles an hour behind me, but they have 4 other lanes to use, 3 or 4 other lanes,
right?
But they don't want to. They want me to get out of their way.
But by law, if you're in the fast lane and a car's coming before you, just move over.
It's not the law.
Okay, by common courtesy, if how about this? They're going faster than me. You don't know why they're going that fast. There might be an emergency that they need to do.
They have 3 other lanes that they can have that emergency in.
But I get what you're saying. Like, it's a moment of like, whoa, this person. So if I move, what if they move at the same time? Hey, all I'm saying is that was an opportunity. No accidents. Maybe you failed that test. Because I stop and think to you, man, you're going back and you broke a windshield for what? Over some people that you'll never see again. Your hand was hurting or your elbow was hurting. You had to pay money because of your emotions. Because again, you wanted them to do something that they didn't do. That's your control issues. You wanted them to do something and they didn't do it, and you got upset. Because you're of the world at that point. The world got you. And this is my point. I'm just trying. You asked me how. I'm just telling you. I said anymore, meaning I used to get upset. The moment I looked over and that person didn't look at me, it was a new thing for me. I'm like, I feel like I did the offense. I wasn't either paying attention, and I could have gotten to this person, and they didn't give me the energy to be like, they kept going, because you know what? Maybe they too were like, nothing ultimately happened. They got scared. They moved out the way, but nothing happened. So am I going to get mad over nothing?
Ryan,
I'm going to scream over nothing just because I got scared?
Well,
come on,
hold
man.
on. Well, because there's another one that just happened Friday. That was another one that happened Friday. But hold on a second. Ryan says it is the law. Left lane is for passing. So he's saying technically in that moment I should have moved over.
Which is why I said.
Right.
And so look at that.
I take back all the FUs that I said
now
that day.
Here you're yelling at somebody who is like, you're both speeding. So let's say we're breaking the law. But like, and this is what I mean. Like, that lesson, and you're telling the story, and I'm glad you're being vulnerable enough to like even tell a story like that and laugh about it and whatnot. This could be your growth. This could be your moment, because that had to happen, because now we're having this conversation. And there are other people just like you that have had that same
That was
feeling.
a long time ago too. That was like well over 10 years
But
ago.
you even, in the beginning of this, you talked about you still had road rage, because you're asking me how to get over it.
So on Friday,
here we go, let's go.
So on Friday, I'm driving over the bridge. What is it? Okay, so here we go. I'm here later than I'm supposed to. I'm going to be late for an appointment back over. Then we're sitting in traffic and
getting yourself worked up. I can see
getting
it.
myself worked up.
And
I had to leave here without finishing the work that I needed to get done. So that meant I was going to have to get up early on Saturday morning and drive my ass into here. So all this stuff's building, right? And I don't remember what happened, but actually nothing happened. It wasn't even somebody else on the road. I just in my car go, fuck me.
Right.
Like that in my car.
Right.
And I feel like a complete a-hole because that shows I can't, I'm having some issues controlling my own emotions.
Okay.
And my little dogs are there. And and one of them, Roxy, is very sensitive to me.
Yeah. I mean, you talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So even I started to get worked up a little bit, and she's like this. And so now the poor girl is already having anxiety in the car anyway.
Right.
And then I all of a sudden just bark out in that moment. So, and I'm glad we're talking about this, Chris, because I had this conversation with a friend of mine an hour later. And she was telling me the same thing. She goes, you can control your reactions. You can control that moment. I'm going, F you, I cannot. And the more you're telling me that right now, the more I want to not control my reactions right now.
Right. And here's the thing, man. Like, if you keep saying I can't, well, then you're not. You're the one who's putting that in front of yourself. So no wonder you're perpetuating the same situation. Like, to say you can't do something is a lie. It speaks of a lie of who you are. We are human beings made by the same stuff. So if I'm able to, you're able to. So again, it's a mentality.
Okay, tell me. So give me a secret then.
Okay,
so
the secret is there are no accidents. At some point, you have to think about your life in a way of, I read it, it's in Conversations with God. Human beings they experience repeat experience after repeat experience, the same one, until they change what they are doing. and then you won't experience that anymore. So here it is. It's another situation
I can see that.
Right. So, and you're asking, what's the secret? I'm like, well, if there are no accidents, right? It was a lead up. Oh, I didn't get this done. Your brain is thinking, I gotta come back Saturday. But what if it was, I get to come back Saturday? Because here's the truth. I've got this show that I have been praying for and working for and going to hospitals and bakerizing and all kinds of stuff, waiting to get to a moment here. And now I've got it. I'm glad I got to get up, because other people would kill to have a situation like this, be in a situation.
Yep.
It's all about, and again, when you say I can't, now you're shaking your head, yes, which goes back and saying, actually, you can. It's not about can't anymore. It's just about looking at everything with no mistakes. Hey, man, and now I got to go. I got this appointment. I didn't finish that. Hey, but you know what? Is it going to get done? Yeah. If it didn't happen, well, maybe that's just how it was supposed to be. So what am I going to do? My reaction. You're judged on yourself by how you react. Nothing's happening to you. Things are just happening.
That example you just used is perfect. When I took the Dale Carnegie class earlier in the year, that's one of the things that somebody shared. Oh, it wasn't even part of the Dale Carnegie class. It was one of the people like me that were just there, and you're sharing different stories. And he shared a story about his mom, I think, in that category there of what you just said. By the way, Ryan says, "Hoosah!" And I forgot that, because we got a quote of the day now, right? Sam's not here, but we still got to do our quote of the day.
What's the quote of the day?
So here's the quote of the day. Are you ready? If I had to live my life again, I'd make the same mistakes, only sooner.
That's deep.
Now, I don't know if you want to look at your computer screen a little bit harder, because if you notice, you'll see a reflection. Looks like windows in the background, and me standing in front of a television holding up my phone. Because that's exactly what I did. that comes from Spectrum or Bright House or whatever, channel 442. And
now think about it. I'd make the same mistakes, but only sooner.
Yeah.
And that goes back into me saying we get repeat experience after repeat experience until we do something different. So rest assured, sometime this week, there's going to be a moment where someone's going to cut you off. Something's going to happen in a car. And at that moment, because it's conversation, because you're just a little bit different, that conversation, you're going to stop and be like, and then watch it not really happen anymore. Or there'll be a situation where you feel like you're late, you're running, and it's like, but what if you aren't really late? You're just on time. Like this, the seasons know exactly when to change, right? They just do on their own time. Like your life is perfect in its own ways, in the things that we don't necessarily think are good or we wish could do different, but there's some perfection in it. It's like there's growth. Like I didn't just get to the way I am. I evolved toward it with those same situations and reading certain books and stopping and being like a level of humble pie, like hearing Wayne Dyer talk about you can either be a servant to your ego or a slave to your ego or a servant to your God. Like hearing that change your soul, like it changed me. It's like these are the moments where you're like, yeah. And so if you realize that life is perfect for you, you came here and God knew exactly where he wanted to be placed. Yahweh, the energy, the ether, universe, whatever you want to call it, knew exactly where they wanted you to be placed for this moment, for your evolution. And at this moment right now, you can't tell me you're just a little bit different, or anybody listening may be a little bit different from that. You can't tell me. It's a lie. You could choose to be like, ignore it, and that's cool. Eat the blue pill if you want to, but you're still going to end up seeing that same stuff. So again, I just say, in the world, not of it. In the world, not of it.
When you said about me getting frustrated because I would have to come back in here the next morning on a Saturday before I have a wedding and you said switch that around in your brain and get up and go, I get to do this.
Yes.
How many people, because for their job or to make money is to do cool stuff like this, to go do weddings, to go play out on the beach, even to come back here and edit original video content for a client.
You get to sit with one of your best friends and we talk about like stuff that we did just in your house, like in my house, just talking in the garage, like, and now we get to do it on a global scale. Like, this is amazing. So yeah, anytime, like, you know what we know on my situation here, I drive far, just like you drive far to be here, just because I get to do it. It's an opportunity. It's a blessing in its own way. I feel like the more with anyone, if it's like even a relationship, this is a relationship. I have a relationship with the Wake Show. If I keep complaining and complaining, well, guess what? I'm already sailed. The ship is about to be sailed by. Like relationships, keep on complaining about the person you're with and watch what happens. Watch them be gone. watch your mouth, man. Power of the tongue.
So going back to what you said there, the story that was shared in the Dale Carnegie thing was about somebody whose like grandmother was terminal, and so the mom had moved in with her and was helping. He was doing laundry and doing this and doing that, and it was really bothering the grandmother because she wanted to be able to contribute. She wanted to be able to do stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So there was a little less than that, but then at the end of the story, what the mom took away from that moment was exactly what you said, Chris, because watching her mom not be able to do certain things, she no longer looked at chores around the house as being chores.
Right.
But something that she gets to do.
I get to do.
Right. Because her mom couldn't do those simple little things that we don't want to do and take her for granted. And all she wanted to do was be able to help and fold some clothes. And so it said it changed perspective.
Yeah.
Because now I look at it, those little things as, no, this is something I get to do. I live in a time and place where I have machines that will wash my clothes for me. And then all I got to do is clean them or hang, all I got to do is fold them or hang them up.
Like, do you hear how many people complain about their phone? Like, oh my God, just AT&T. They just these calls are dropped. And like, dude, I literally was on a airplane in the air. I'm in the air and I'm texting you. Blah, 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 blah. Like, I can call my people in Hawaii.
Yeah.
I can send them a picture like that. And we're complaining about what? Oregon Trail. Them dudes 8 months to get to Oregon. Like, you're complaining about first world problems. I remember. Here's a great example. So one of my fathers passed away. Charles Robinson, one of my spiritual dad. And it was a time when I forget who it was. I'm forgetting current events, but they were trying to find this guy. Like, and they're shutting down airports. So I have to get to New York to bury him. And when I'm in Atlanta, whoever it was that they were trying to find was there, and they shut down the flights. So I missed his funeral. I am in the airport, bawling. I got the TSA. I'm by myself. Like it's like I am losing it. This is my dad guy, right? I'm losing it, and I'm sitting there, and they won't let the people back on the plane. Do you have any idea how many people I saw getting so angry with the people who wouldn't let them on? My laptop's on there. I'm hearing over and over, and I just wanted to be like, your laptop? Dude, my dad's dead, and I can't even go to his funeral, and you complained about a laptop? Get the fuck out of here, man. Like, I'm telling you, like, we are some whiny little...
So, another good example, because you're just talking about how in Nikki... echoed, we take all these things for granted.
Of course.
It's so easy to.
We take our whole lives for granted.
Well, in China, they just built a $20 billion bridge, right? And let me put it up here. It is the world's longest sea crossing bridge. It's going to take, amazing. So right there in that Hong Kong area, it used to take 3 hours to commute, all right, to get from one side to the other, 3 hours, which is, we can, for those of you that have been in the Bay Area long enough, some of you old timers, the same thing happened here. Well, I don't know when that bridge was built. Maybe that was longer ago than I think. Mm. But so anyway, so now it goes from 3 hours to 30 minutes. What once took somebody 3 hours is now going to take 30 minutes.
Thank you.
But how long before people forget that?
Yep.
And that 30 minutes because of traffic turns into 45 minutes because of an accident, and now people are mother effing this and mother effing that.
You know what? And even on that, I went one step further. I started thinking I was ashamed of myself at one point. There was an accident, and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna be late. And then I was like, man, someone is getting a phone call right now that maybe their baby died, that their husband died, that their brother died, sister died. Like, someone's life is going to be changed forever.
Yeah, the Howard Franklin, by the way, I just looked up his... I'm sorry, Chris.
No, go ahead. But I mean, they got the point.
The Howard Franklin, which is the big bridge that I was talking about here in the Bay Area, was built in 1957.
Nice.
So there are plenty of people, some old timers.
Some old timers that remember that.
Speaking of old timers, can I tell you about my wedding my wedding on Saturday?
Of course.
So the wedding on Saturday...
Oh, I got to tell you mine too.
...was awesome, Chris. They were so cool. It was at a 55-plus community at their little clubhouse.
Sick.
They had speakers everywhere. Like, they were telling me about how they always had these jam band sessions and this and this and this and this 55-plus community. They had probably a room of 10 to 12 speakers around the room, and that's not even including the ones that were in the ceiling. Those little, whatever, the PA kind of stuff. But anyway.
Yeah.
So the average age of the person at the wedding was 60+. plus. Or I'll say 60. I'll be nice. And so I'm thinking this is going to go a certain way, and we'll get through till 9 o'clock, and then everybody will be ready to go to bed, right? We had the sparkler send-off at 8:45. Well, it wasn't the easiest gig. You know, I got them out there, and they're off, I'm out there and off, you know. And so as 8:45 is rolling around, I'm like, man, I'm glad that we're getting to this point, because I don't know that I could keep going if they wanted me to go till 10.
Right.
So the bride is not even 5 feet tall.
Oh.
She's all of 4'10", 60, something years old.
Yeah.
She comes up to me. She's dancing a little bit. She's got a $100 bill. This is right at 8:45 when I'm getting ready to do the sparkler send-off.
Right.
She hands me the $100 bill. She goes, "Fuck the sparklers. I want to party."
My girl.
And they were, and so I was like, all right. And then from that point, well, I'd already got them dancing for, leading up to that, but it just continued, and they just jammed until 10 o'clock. It was the best time. And Blue stereotype, because like I said, there was a guy in a wheelchair, or a walker, comes up to me, Chris. He comes up, and he's a big man. He's 6'3", 4",
Right.
back in the day, I'm sure, if not taller.
Right.
Gray as can be, 80 years old. He goes, looks at me and goes, "Let's see how good you are." And I'm thinking he's going to pull out some shit from the 40s or 50s that I don't know. "Let's see how good you are. Do you have any Tone Loc?"
Stop. You want that funky cool Medina? Wait, so I got a story. I was at the Hard Rock.
Well, real quick. So I go, yes, sir, I sure do. I've got Funky Cole Medina and Wild Thing. He goes, "Awesome, playing back to back." Dance with me back, and he wheels himself back out there in his walker, and I play him, and he stays out there the whole time and just rocking. It was awesome.
So I was at the Hard Rock at the lobby. So if you ever come to a Hard Rock lobby show, they are crazy fun. They have every place you go has its regulars. So these regulars that I've come to find out are regulars, they're a little older, right?
Yeah.
And me, I get them moving. It's one man. I'm gonna look to see if I can find it on my Snapchat. He had a rocker, right? My man is. I'm gonna try to show y'all what he's doing. So he comes out, just to and then he does like this. And he turns around, and this lady sits in his lap. He's like, and he's looking at me, and he's like, "Yeah, don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop, young timer. Don't stop. I used to get him, boy." Yo, I gotta find it. I'm trying to play, and I'm watching this go down. I've never seen anything. So you gotta come to the lobby show, man. That was too good. Let me tell you about my wedding. I had a first. It was a night. So it was a nightmare. The wedding was amazing. Great fun. A lot of old fans from back in the early Chris McCarty band days, which was awesome to see everybody, everyone getting older and whatnot. And so they had me, doing DJing and emceeing and playing the guitar and whatnot. And everyone knows I have a daughter. And one of my, I don't want to say biggest fears, but the moment of the father-daughter dance, like the very first time I ever danced with Valentina, she was 2 months old, and we danced to, At Last by, Ella Fitzgerald.
Right.
And so I know that's going to end up being, our song, but I'm watching the dad and Marisol is her name, now Marisol Peters. I'm watching them dancing, and I'm getting emotional. Now I've got the phone hooked up. It's on my leg. I am watching them, and I start thinking about me and Valentina, and he starts to cry. She starts, and I'm just like, I'm such a sap into that stuff. And man, I move, and the phone slides off my leg, and the cable disconnects, and there's silence.
Oh,
son, you don't understand how incredibly horrible. I am scrambling to get it. Thank God the people who were they kept singing the song. And I just was just like, of all people, like, these are my people. I've been, oh man. So I had to eat crow. I go to Poppy afterwards, and at the end, I'm like, I just come to him. I'm like, "Sir, I am incredibly sorry for that." Like, I tell my kids, don't say I'm sorry, say I apologize, because you're not a sorry person. I don't want ever, power of the tongue. I apologize. I'm sorry
for that. And he was like, it's okay. Gave me a hug, and he like put his hand on my face and was like, you're a good man. I know you would. And it was just, my eyes kind of swelled up a little bit because I just felt, man, like this is my thing. And yeah, so that was my story about the wedding. But the rest of the wedding ended up being really cool. Everyone was really great. Me and Poppy were breaking it down afterwards. It was awesome. But yeah, man. So now I just know that when that time comes, I'm just gonna push play, put on the ground, and stand away, because that was the nightmare, man. A nightmare. Has that happened to you yet? Anything like that?
Oh yeah. This past Saturday. Well, there's a few of them. Just this past Saturday, and it's not as big a deal. But I'm playing from a different room the music for the ceremony. So I got to fire off the songs for the bridal party to come in, and then we have to say, here you go, Mr. and Mrs. Boom, I fire off the song as they go out, right?
Right.
Well, instead of clicking on the actual song itself, I hit play when they were leaving the altar. So instead of hitting the song that I was supposed to play, I replayed the song that was going up there. But that was like 1 second, then you hit the button, it's over. It's not a perfect moment. And when I do stuff like this, and I know, Chris, you're the same way, you want it to be perfect because it's somebody's wedding, and they deserve that.
Yes, absolutely.
But the first time coming back, because I did my first wedding when I was 16 years old, and then up through like 2021, and then I didn't do any until recently. So that was last year. The first one I did, luckily, it was not introducing them for the first time or their first dance, but I got the names wrong. And so, yeah, and you don't want to get the names wrong.
I feel
when we were doing the toast,
I
think it was.
I've done that once. And the crowd like says the name like angrily, and I'm like, yo, come on, man, shove me off. Like I asked them prior to, can you do that? In college they spell it out for you. So please do this, and they didn't. And as a matter of fact, yesterday I have another one. Right after that was the Mother-Son dance. I again said,
holy smokes! By the way, Chris,
do you have another one too?
No. Do you remember how I just said I did my first wedding at 16? Well,
stop. They just brought up, didn't they?
Sherry Wise just popped up here. Well, she's the one that gave me my start at 15 years old.
Sherry, I need Roberta Zibinov to jump in. That'd be amazing, there.
When they started putting on the Ocoee dances for the middle schoolers, for the people that were my age, I was 15 when they first started it, and she and Mona Best said, hey, would you like to do these things? And they were the ones who put it on, and I worked for pizza.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
I think I got one slice of pizza or two. I can't remember.
You got two. Don't lie.
I don't know. I don't remember. But that's what I got paid there in the beginning. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
Yo, I got to tell you the rest of the crazy wedding. So right after that, it's the Mother-Son dance, right? So they tell me, hey, these are songs we want. I say, hey, put all your songs on your phone. And that song, when you pull it up, there were like it was My Life from the Beatles. There were 3 My Lives that popped up. Now, I'm already feeling from what just happened. So I'm rattled from that. I look at the bride and I'm like, I am not going to happen again. So she takes the phone and she presses play. It's the wrong one. Who do you think everybody was looking at?
You.
This guy. And I'm like, man, that's not me. Right? So that was that.
And you can't blame it on the bride.
I got no way. I'm taking it. Right. Yeah, I got to take it. And then there's a special dance. It was like this girl, she's going to do this Indian, and I've never seen it. It was amazing, right? So she's got, exactly. Right. And
I hope we just weren't culturally insensitive. I'm sure we probably were.
She was getting it. And and so, but again, they didn't have it on their phone. So the girl puts it on the wedding planner's phone. So they give me the phone. I press play like I'm supposed to. What do you think happens?
Whoop, there it is, came on.
Screen timeout. So the screen shuts off. Song stops. And I'm literally like, you gotta be kidding. You cannot do that. I say this, you cannot be doing this to me today. And I started back on. And the good thing is it stopped. And it was like, what the? Thank God there was no passcode. Thank God there was no passcode. Press play, and it started right on the beat like it would have. Dude, it made me like, I don't know if I'm doing weddings anymore. It was that like one after another after like what the. I take the first one, the other two.
Yeah.
Dude, man, like, it's too stressful.
That
was my nightmare wedding story.
So I did a wedding a year ago at the Dali Museum, right?
Really?
And well, actually, this was for friends of mine. I only had to not officiate, just like make a couple announcements is all I had to do. And they had set up their own music and playlist, and all I had to do was press play on their computer, right? The same exact thing happened. So they're getting ready to get married, or I can't remember if it's at the when they're supposed to leave the altar and I'm supposed to hit the button. to play a song.
Right.
Well, his computer had shut down, or the screen, and there was a passcode. So if you've ever been to the Dali, everybody's upstairs getting married. I was downstairs in the little cafe area to press play on the music. Right, so I'm nowhere near everybody else is. It's dead quiet, and I'm just looking at the screen, and there's nothing I could do. I just looked up and go, "What's your password?" And luckily they were friends, and it was one of those moments that everybody laughed and da-da-da-da,
Yeah,
But,
I know what you mean. And then, even the cake, even at the, oh my gosh, there was another one too. There was the cake, cutting of the cake. So they have the cake song. They don't say in the notes what the song is. So the wedding planner is like, it's cake song. So go into the phone, cake. So I'm like, cool. The first thing that pops up, push it. It's the band cake. I'm glad I know what the lead singer of the band cake sounds like. And I'm like, and that intuitive, and maybe I was still tripping before. I go right to the wedding and I'm like, are you sure this is the cake song?
Crouched at the
and
starting
then she
line.
goes back to the guy. He's like, not the song. And I'm like, this guy again is going to think it's me. And it was just, man, maybe not even want to do that anymore, man.
One of those.
Oh, every single and it's just. But so here we are. So what did I do with it? Am I going to sit and go, or you learn from it? Like, all right, let me just be even more together in the future, even more like I need just make this easy on me because man, searching, that could be the lesson. Also, the lesson of it's all about how you end. I played. Everyone had a great time. Everyone was sweaty. Everyone was dancing. It's like, nothing is perfect in life. It's all perfect. We like things to go the way it is. And like, again, like, do you guys think that I want to mess this up? Of course not. So if it happened, it happened. So what are they going to do it? What am I going to do with it? Like, don't beat yourself up. Don't, that whole thing. I mean, it's...
Yeah, I can't I hear you. But
it definitely had me double second guessing doing weddings. I'm like, it's just too much, man.
I can do the not beating myself up stuff if it just pertains to me. Like, I did something to mess me up, then I'm like, whatever, I'm half an idiot.
Right, it's somebody else.
Yeah, then that's what I'll be driving. See, that's when we were talking about, controlling our reactions. I don't know that we have as much control of our reactions in the moment as some may think.
We control our minds, and we have to recognize, and we're old enough now in mastery years, we recognize, like, I'm feeling frustrated. Like, I can see it in my kids. They don't know how to articulate their frustration, so I'm trying to help them, coach them. Okay, you're feeling a little upset. This is what this is, blah, blah, blah. So once you acknowledge it, then there's a moment you can be like, hey, I got to get out of here. Let me just stop the conversation. Let me stop. Like, you know what I mean? That's the way you control that. Or you can sometimes go in it. Like, the kids were with me. You understand how stressful that was? 3 hours of data. We there yet? How far data? We got to go to the bathroom. Data. Blah, 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 blah. Valentina hit me. Johnny won't give me the. Oh my God! Right. So at one point, we're trying to get there, and I take my glasses off. I look at my son, and I'm like, son, I love you. I will do anything for you. I'll do everything for you. I need you to stop asking me questions. And I'm going in, I'm like, because da-da-da. And he gets quiet, and it's just like a McCarty moment. He goes, Dad, your seatbelt's not on. I open the door, and I get out of the car. I'm about to throw this kid out of the car. I just said, don't say anything else. And it's like he can't help it. He's so innocent and cute. He's just like, he cares so much. He's like, your seatbelt's not on. Right. And so that's what I mean in that moment. Let me just get out of the car because I'm going to kill this kid.
Gosh. That is so funny.
On this day.
Nikki says self-control can be hard when those emotions are strong.
Yes.
And last week I had a conversation with Cords too, and I know we already brought it up in the air about him, because I said I was triggered and I lost my emotions in something, and he goes, that's weak. He goes, that's a weak excuse. You can control that. So he's another person. You're another person in my life, and my friend Mimi, who are all within the last week and a half saying you can control this. So either I need to get back into the zone, meditate, and and think on this and see if there is, or maybe I am, somewhere on that bipolar spectrum or whatever those disorders are, where you have those impulse control issues, and emotional outbursts. And maybe I'm just somewhere on that spectrum where, maybe they're controllable, but I
would suggest reading a couple of books that I've read that have helped, because I've asked you before, have you read this? You said no. Have you read this? You said no.
You have the audiobook version?
You can get the audiobook version. That's what you want to do. But I'm just saying, when I read Conversations with God, it completely took just 90% of fear out of my life.
It did, and I know you're going to raise your eyebrow, but I'm just telling you, as one of your best friends, like this is kind of what happened.
But here's the thing: I have to get over the part where this guy actually believes he was talking to God. Like, like for instance, my mom came to me years ago, and she's go, "I got this book. This is exactly what you need. It's called something with purpose." Life living with purpose or what, I don't know, whatever. And I was like, oh, it sounds good. It sounds good. But the premise of the book is you have to believe in Jesus Christ as your personal savior, and you have to be in that place in order for all of this other stuff to line up. Like, well, that's not where I am, so this isn't going to.
How cool is it that in this book, the God figure is saying, I don't need you to believe in me.
Oh, all right. Well, then I'm in.
So I say to you, I understand getting tripped up on that. I do. I just say, just read some books, like just hear it. Like it's how reading words. There are concepts in there, and I'm one of your best friends. And there are many people who ask me, why am I the way I am? And I'm just telling you, I read these books, and it's not a matter of I'm just gonna believe and follow. I don't do that. Like my friends, just because I'm your friend and I agree with you doesn't mean I'm just gonna side with you on everything you do. Like that's not even having a mind of my own. I'm saying that I read something, and if something in my spirit agreed with it, well then that's mine, not so much what that book says. It works for me because again, I believe you're just here. You came in by yourself. You're going to leave by yourself for the most part. So if everyone around you is almost like a simulation, like they're kind of here.
Well, hey, now you're starting to get some Elon Musk stuff. What do you mean simulation?
What I'm saying is,
am I not really here? Am I just a figment of your reality?
No, I don't mean it in terms like that. I mean, I can choose to say or not say or do or not do with you, and you're going to react based on whatever it is I give you, because that's just how you're going to react. And this person, that person, this person. So if almost like simulation, what I meant is, all right, well, let's just say I want to just do something loving. Like the times I call you and text you just out of the blue, I love you, dude. Like, what is that doing for you? I don't know. It's doing something for you, but there's a reaction. Every action has a reaction. So if I'm just giving out love, well, I'm probably going to end up getting it back. And typically that's what's happening. So if everything's trial by error, like the car that drove by and you got mad at, like that was just there. You never even seen him again. So there's that person, they existed in that moment. Maybe they were there for that moment to help you. Like everyone's here to help you. And if you're here to help them, then you've got your world. Like, again, imagine it's like, I've read this. The people you don't know, or family, what is it? Strangers are family you haven't met yet. One. And then the other one, it's like, I got so much flying. It's more, again, the idea of, it's not about you. It's about everyone around you. So for me, when I was Chris McCarty at 20, egotistical, I thought I was the message. And even though I would still do good deeds, I saw myself as a good person. I also know that I believed that. May not have cognizantly did it, may not have, but looking back at myself, like, yeah, then I get humbled. When you get a call from the White House 3 days after your band breaks up, that's like working so hard to get to the door. And if that didn't happen, I probably wouldn't be on this show. I'd be famous and whatever. But I went all the way back down. And then the people you're with no longer are calling you.
Be humble.
Right,
bitch,
right. And so then with all of that, with all that happening, and so now it's like, okay, so now I realize it's not about me, it's about everyone around me. So is it any coincidence you saw me at the school with you, the little school in elementary school? Like, just even the person I am now is way different than I was back then. And so now I understand, like, I was told that, Chris, it's not about you, it's about everyone around you. And so now I look at it like service. Like Martin Luther King talked about it, and like, and he was saying a story of Jesus. People were like, I want to be on your right and your left. He's like, dude, it's not for me to decide who's going to be on my right and left. It's for those who are prepared for that. But you want to be important? Great. Everyone wants to be important. But you could be important by serving, because the greatest among you are the best servants. So people who serve, those are your leaders. So it's a new level of leading. So serve, give. That's all I want to do. That's all I care to do. And so now it's a different thing. So I feel like, how did I get here? Maybe some of these books I read, some of those experiences. So I just say to you as my friend, like, hey, check it out. You owe it to yourself, I'm a source that you believe in, you trust. Why not trust that source? Forget all the rest of it. Just trust the source, and you won't know until you could try or deny it. But until then, it's just is what it is.
All right. So, Conversations with God
by Neil Donald Walsh.
All right. The book that I was talking about is called Purpose Driven Life.
That's it. Yep,
Purpose Driven Life.
I've actually read that book.
It's the same guy that did Narnia, right?
I'm not quite sure. C.S. Lewis?
Yeah, I think C.S. Lewis wrote Purpose Driven Life.
Yeah, that's a great one. There's so many good reads. So many good reads. I was going to say this. Let me tell the story about how this book came to me. Conversations with God. It's a great story. It's very true. Say what you want. All I know is the book changed my life. I feel like I'm a better person because of it. And I think that there are no accidents. And I think that life has its own magic. I believe that. I believe in God. I believe that God can do anything. Right. And so I'm 23 years old, and I was always the guy. I mean, we're in a van. I just had books in my backpack and just walk around with books and just kind of read and stuff. So we're moving out of this condo in Gainesville, and I have to take all these books and move them. And there were two books that caught my eye. One was Catch Me If You Can. That movie was out at the time. And Conversations with God, Volume 2. And it was that little... my soul wants to know the truth. I'm looking for anything, and something told me to grab it. So I grab it, put it in my little backpack. And the next morning we leave, and I sleep all the way until like 15 minutes out of getting to Destin. So I open the book and I start reading it. I read page like 15 or 16, and I'm like, man, this is great. Oh, I wish I had volume 1. Whatever. Get to the destination. We go to this guy's house. Everyone's kicking it great, and we leave. I leave by myself. So I'm waiting for the elevator. I reach in my bag and I pull the book out. So I'm reading it, but I can't find where I am. I'm like, man, where am I? I turn the book over, and it's Conversations with God, Volume 1. I then look back in my bag. Volume 2 is also in my bag. Marinate on that. So I'm freaking out. I call my mother, who's also spiritual. My grandfather was a deacon, Father Uriah Brown. And she says to me, Christopher, God can do anything. And after reading the book, like, guys, I wouldn't have started volume 2 with having one. I wouldn't do that. So after reading volume 1, my life was completely different.
All right.
And that's the book that I told Chase to get, and he also got it. And it's like, so I just tell you, man, like, give it a shot. Like, check the source. I don't need to lie to you. I'm not getting anything out of it.
I got to find it free on the internet.
I'll get it for you tomorrow. Free on the internet. I'll bring it to you tomorrow.
Molly says, I studied something about this in high school, how the world does not revolve around you, and not to sweat the little things. I'm not sure if it was allegory of the cave, and then it stopped. And then Sharon says, no, Purpose Driven Life was written by Minister Rick Warren.
Yeah, that's the one where, never mind, let me stop. I'm getting my books mixed up. The Journey, it's about men taking...
Well, let's go ahead and let's hit a couple of things because I may have some client stuff to do here. Starting about 1:30, so a couple of things.
You get to do client stuff? Yeah.
That's right. I get to.
Right. You got clients, you got work.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And then I get to go, and then I get to drive all the way up to Pasco County to pick up my dogs.
And you know what? And in that drive, you get to get cut off, and you get to have moments that you get a little nervous, and you get to not freak out, and you get to smile because you're beating it, and you're better than you were yesterday. And that progress is what makes you happy. Progress makes you happy. It's going to happen, and then it's going to be this moment where the dog's going to happen, and you're going to be like, you know what? I'm not going to freak out because Roxy, her reaction is reminding me, reminding me to make a different take than before. A mistake is an MIS-take. It's just a mistake. It's all good. You'll get it again.
What about MS period take?
All day, baby. I'll be here tomorrow too.
So
we'll leave you with this.
Speaking of controlling your emotions,
get him, brother. Don't stop. Don't stop, man.
So last night we were at a concert in Orlando. My wife and I, and my brother and his wife. One of my brothers, Ken. And speaking of controlling your emotions, one of the people we met up with was having a really good time, which is code for obnoxious AF.
Right.
And so she comes barreling in, and it's an acoustic show. It's not a full-blown rock show. This is an acoustic show. It's got a theme to it. Like, he comes out dressed as Mr. Rogers, and, you know, all the people he's bringing on are his neighborhood, you know, neighbors and this, right? So this woman's just like, woo, yeah! She goes to the bar, comes back, and then runs into my brother, right? And so she pushes him into the person in front of him. Mm-hmm. So that guy turns around, pushes my brother back. My brother Ken pushes the guy like this, licks his hand, and then slaps him across the face. And then just stands there.
Like, what you gonna do?
No, yeah, you didn't stare. He just pushed.
He did nothing, didn't he?
He didn't do a damn thing. That wasn't a good story, didn't it? That was
he was Billy Badass until he met Billy Badass.
Like, Ken, how do you? Because that's not me. I could never. I'm not that confrontational. That's why I save those moments for my car. I save my moments for the car when the windows are up and then somebody pisses me off.
So I can break them.
Right. So I can just go.
You know what you should do? From now on, I want you to put the camera on me, and when you get mad, just visualize this old man.
I know. I'm not visualizing that every time I get mad.
That's what you got to do, man.
I don't think it's going to bring me down.
I'm going to try to find it right now, homie. I pray I have it.
I don't think it's going to calm things.
I pray I have this.
All right, a couple things. We told you the Lightning tickets go on sale this afternoon, 5 o'clock. Booger McFarland, congratulations to him. He's joining the Monday Night Football crew.
He is awesome in his job, by the way, man.
He is.
I watched him on the SEC network, and I was like, man, he is just really good at his job.
He's one of my favorites.
Yeah, man.
And I can't remember.
Have you interviewed him before?
Ooh, that is a great question.
I don't know.
And you're like, man, how do you know whether or not you... Listen, I've had a long career. Right. We've interviewed a lot of people. I would never set up the interviews. They would just come in. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
Booger, I want to say we have... Let me see if I have... Because I may have audio. No, it's not in this computer. I think we did interview Booger McFarland when he first came to town. I'm almost positive. But anyway, yeah, he's really good. And I can't remember the guy that he was teamed up with. I was watching the game earlier, in, last season.
Chris Doring?
I want to say it was another Buccaneer, and they were calling it college. But anyway, it was one of the best games that I'd ever watched because of the commentator. Because it was like two guys that knew each other. They were half kind of cracking on each other, calling the game. But it wasn't like all inside stuff. I don't know. I can't explain it. Anyway, Booger and this guy were just amazing, and so it's good to see Booger join the Monday Night Football.
Yeah, he's that good, man. I'm not even shocked. I'm not even shocked. He just,
Also, cancer screening, a free cancer screening today. I don't know if you can take advantage of it. You got them in Tampa, Sarasota, and Clearwater. They are free. Screening for melanoma. The American Academy of Dermatology is putting this on. It's Melanoma Monday today. And so they've done this before, detected more than 188,000 suspicious lesions, including more than 21,500 suspected melanoma since 1985. So that's happening today here in the Bay Area. You a Post Malone fan? Have you gotten into Post Malone yet, Chris?
I mean, I'm all right. I haven't just totally checked it out. I liked him firing his people. Like, you told a story about how they were like, you need to do this and do this, and he was like, okay, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired. I love someone who stands up and is not going to be thwarted by what they believe. I love that. I respect that, because that's taking your life in your own hands and be like, no, dude, like, that's like me. I don't care how many people have come to me about what are you gonna do and I'm like, I know who I am. I know why I'm here. I know my life, like you know your life. Like we all have our dreams that come to us. Like my dreams, you don't know my dreams. You don't know what I mean. You don't know what I hear. You don't know where I'm walking. So I respect Post Malone for doing that, because I feel like I'm a lot like that. Like I'm gonna make it the way I make it, and no other way.
So Post Malone breaks streaming record with beer bongs and Bentleys. He's a very interesting dude and eclectic musician. Post Malone set a new record for most streams in a week and established the best-selling week of 2018. And the rapper's Beer Bongs and Bentleys opened to top the Billboard charts. Album opened with 461,000 total copies.
I really respect him now.
Yep. And let's see, with the majority of that total, the result of a record-breaking 288,000 streaming equivalent albums, that's what they call them, SEAs. In total, it streamed over 431 million times this week to cruise past the previous record holder Drake's More Life, which accumulated nearly 385 million streams. How do you consume your music these days, Chris? Are you Spotify, Pandora? Do you have your own list that you go off of in your phone?
It is Apple
Music.
Yeah,
Apple Music. You pay for it, $10 a month, $9.
Yeah, I sure do. And I'm also kind of a crackhead with No offense to crackheads. No, I'm also crackhead with YouTube.
I take offense.
With YouTube Red. I love all that stuff. So I pay that little money and so I can hear whatever I have to hear. I just love music and information, all of it together. So I do a little bit more.
Also, the Molly that's been on the chat, it's not a chat room, in the comment section, is going to be on the show Wednesday. Looking forward to having Molly in.
Cool. What is she here for?
Well, she
what's her dream, I guess?
Well, she's a local like social media light. She's one of she's got over 14,000 followers on Instagram. She's got her own line of it's not apparel.
Molly, did you buy any of them? Did you buy any of your Instagram likes? We're sorry, I'm just kidding.
I didn't. I'm going to say bedazzle, and I have a feeling it's going to offend you. She bejewels various things, clothing, hats, and this and this and this, and sells them. What's that?
Molly, if that's the case, will you bring your boy something? I can't wear hats in my hair, but I would love to, I'll push you on my stage on a show.
Jeweled.
Make it cool.
Jeweled.
Jeweled.
She doesn't bedazzle things.
Yeah, I was like, bejeweled, that's a game. I remember. Yeah, that was pretty good at it, too.
Well, she was telling me she uses the highest quality of that Swarovski crystal, you know what I'm talking about, or whatever that was.
So I have a 3-year-old daughter. She's a 4. You got any kid? You have any kid stuff? Because it's always nice when Daddy brings baby home some stuff. She loves.
She goes. I bought them all.
She bought them all.
She bought all 14,000 of them. Yeah. She bought them all.
And it worked. Did it get you on the show? Well, come on.
She'll be coming by on.
I don't care if you bought it at all either. Do what you got to do, Mama.
A couple of other things before we get out of here. First of all, would you like to be a security guard in Pasco County at one of the Pasco County schools? No? Well, good.
Hey, I might be really behind. What? I clearly am about to be really behind. I'm going to put myself into the garbage game. Avicii's dead?
Yeah.
When did he die?
It's been, I think that was Sunday last week, so like 8, 9, 10 days or something like that.
Yeah, I just saw the thing and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. Can we go back to that and see what happened? It said his family confirmed.
Where did you see that?
It was on one of the little sides. There it is, right there. Okay. See?
All right.
Whoa, that see, hey, y'all,
that's not.
My news and my kids, my friends, and I don't really get into all that. I catch up here on this show. That's rough.
Where did you? Well, anyway, here's what he committed.
Keep scrolling down. Oh no, it's gone now.
All right, let me just type it in because he, I think, committed suicide. How do you spell his name?
IVICCI or CI? Yeah, IVICII. Death. Hey, there it is. Hey, brother. That's. Oh man.
Yeah, I think they. Shocking new details. Okay, of course, shocking new details.
Man, dude.
Let's just go with this one here. Yeah, I think it was suicide. Huh? What's going on? Is it the same one? Shows the wrong way to report on suicide. Well, this is how the media chooses to report celebrity suicides can have real life or death consequences. So this is just a story about.
Yeah, they're not going to tell you about what happened. I think there's shocked.
Suicide is caused by self-inflicted cuts from glass. So yeah. Anyway, that's a very sad story. I guess he was one of those they considered a tortured soul.
Most artists are. They, at least musicians, they call us tortured souls. I mean, listen. You get close to me, I'll tell you some. I'll make you sad, man, with some of the stuff that's going on with me. I don't even talk to Phil anymore. How about that?
Phil,
my big brother, my Phil McCartney. We were in the Chris McCartney band together. We don't even talk. We don't even talk anymore. I'm trying to make light of it because it just makes me sad. But it's true, man. Like, it's a torture thing. And that's, it's an older brother. So, the one you look up to and stuff, and you got in lots of fights and as a little kid for. So sometimes I'll at shows, like, I'll be missing him. So I'll just play a song that he wrote. No one knows it. It just kind of makes me feel close to him.
Molly says, bring in a pair of her Converse and I'll jewel them.
Done. My girl.
Let's see. So yeah, who wants to be a Pasco County school security guard? Well, they had an open call, for lack of a better term, for this.
$20 an hour.
53 positions advertised a week ago, Another 56 hopefuls are seeking the district's newly established director of safety and security jobs. So, yeah, all kinds of people coming out of the woodworks in Pasco County to become secure. And this is going to happen all around the country. You're going to see this kind of stuff all around the country as they figure out where they're going to get the money. Or maybe not. Maybe it's just Florida after Parkland, but I have a feeling you're going to start seeing more of this stuff around the country, too.
I wish all the crazy celebrities, I almost wish there was like a rule, a law or something, like you make lots of an absorbent amount of money, like you got to give that to the safety of the kids at public schools. Like, you know what I mean? There's so much money out there that, I mean, you're talking about $20 an hour, like how are you going to come up with that? Like there's a formula that we can all chip in to.
It's called property tax.
I'm telling you, man. I just wish that there was more done. But anyways, keep going.
Another story I want to hit before we get out of here. Millennials, according to a new study, millennials are waiting longer to have sex, with 1 in 8 still virgins at 26 years old. And they tracked 16,000 people born in 1989, 1990, since they were 14 years old.
This is in London, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The interviews
Europe, not in America. But go ahead.
The interviews conducted in 2016 discovered a rise in the number of millennials waiting longer to have sex compared to previous generations, where 1 in 20 reported still being a virgin around the same age. Now, this is interesting because there's been stories coming out of Japan at least a couple years ago saying that the millennials there, the teenagers there, the young adults there are not as interested in sex as the generations before. So this stuff is fascinating because, I wonder where this has come from.
Remember the kid that got mad when what's-her-face kissed him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I love it.
Katy Perry, right?
Yeah,
Katy
I
Perry.
love it. I mean, it's crazy because there's so much sex thrown at us. Sex. I mean, God, in 5th grade it was "Can't Touch This," and when my little sister was in 5th grade, she's talking about "You can find me in the club." Sex. I remember watching her. I'm into having sex. I ain't to make it. I watched her sing that. I'm like, oh my gosh. So like, I don't know. Maybe things have changed a little bit.
Oh. And then there's those people who sell their virginities to pay for college.
What'd you say?
And then people who sell their virginity to pay for college.
That's rough.
Those stories.
That's rough.
All right. Let's see. Colorado woman cited. Oh, did you see this story about a woman cited after microwave blows up with urine sample? So she's trying to give an example. She's trying to give a sample to somebody else.
Right.
And before she turns it over to somebody else to use, she wanted to heat it up.
Oh my
she wanted to warm it up a little bit. So a Colorado woman has been cited by police after a container of what appeared to be urine blew up as she was heating it up in a microwave at a 7-Eleven. Police say the incident occurred in the convenience store's Change Aurora location last week when the clerk heard a loud bang and then saw the 26-year-old Angelique Sanchez take a white plastic bottle out of the microwave. I really don't know any good reason why anybody would warm up urine. One plausible explanation would be maybe they have a urine test that is coming up, so stick it in the microwave and put it there for 10 seconds.
Well, it's sterile.
What?
Urine. You can drink it.
Yeah. A buddy, a friend of mine who's even way more out there than you and I are. He just posted on Facebook a few weeks ago, and it was a big buildup. Like wouldn't tell you what it was he did. He's like, I just did something that changed my life, and I feel this way, and I feel that way, and I feel cleansed, and da 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 da. And then at the end, I drank my own urine. It's urine therapy. I was like, all right, click, because I had liked it when I started the post. I unliked it.
Absolutely. That's just there's some things better left unsaid.
I can't. You're gonna have to. I hope you meet him one day. His name's Rex.
I'll meet him from far away. I don't want to smell his breath, pee-pee breath.
He's missing a leg. He's been dead before. He's got a story.
I gotta see him. You know what? If he's been dead before, and he's some stuff he knows that we don't. He's probably like, I'll try anything at this point. Yeah. Why is he missing a leg? Do you know?
Motorcycle accident. I think it was the Courtney. I can't remember if it was the Courtney Campbell or the Howard Franklin, but he was going 100-something miles an hour. The front brake locked up just out of nowhere. Boom. He went flying off the bike, and he said he was dead for a few minutes. But urine is only stale inside the body, according to Nikki. You're right, because as soon as it comes outside the body, so you get it, because as soon as it comes outside the body, that bacteria, it starts to grow. It loves that stuff. All right, and yeah, that was it. That was it for all the stuff that I wanted to hit today.
What a great conversation, man. I hope you guys, share it, go back, read it, listen to it again. I think it was pretty good information here that, again, we talked about road rage, controlling our own mind, controlling our emotions.
I'm still on the fence about that. I think we have more control than we actually do in the moment.
Okay, well, that coming from a person who is breaking his, maybe I hear you. From the person who doesn't road rage, I would just say, just read the book and then have a conversation with me. That's all I'm saying, dude. Like, you understand what could really happen? And here's the challenge, what I see. People are watching you, right? And we're keeping up, and you're seeing you have these things. Wouldn't it be something if I gave you this book? One person who you in particular is like, I don't really know what to believe. What if you get this book, and then all of a sudden now you're talking on the radio or wherever we call this, and you're even talking about how, I've noticed this and maybe I noticed that, and like there's something really good about the book. Like, what would that do then? Because there are the people who question me who aren't sit on your side. They don't really know, and there are people who sit on my side of the people who, you know what I mean? Like, that could be very interesting. So I think for humanity, for our fans' sake,
humanity. No, I like it.
For humanity's sake, I think I think you should do that because again, you're representing a group of people, and you are in the forefront.
All right,
so I think you should try that. Just on that alone.
Do you have?
Of course, I got a copy. You crazy?
Then can I borrow a copy?
I'm bringing it tomorrow.
All right.
Along with my Converse and my baby's shoes to get bedazzled.
Because I know that I don't have to necessarily believe in everything in order to pull wisdom from something.
No.
When I stayed with a friend of mine and his wife, and they're Indian, for over a month a few years back. And so I was reading, I'm going to absolutely butcher the book, but it's... The Bhagavad Gita? No, it's not even close. Anyway, it's a religious.
Nagila.
No, it's not. I know.
I'm kidding.
Well, that's what I'm mixing two words together.
But we keep going. But just go ahead before you lose the thought.
So anyway, so that's coming from Hinduism, and so I don't necessarily see things like that, but there were definitely truths that I feel like I saw in there, the same way that I see truths in the Torah, truths in the
I believe
New Testament.
If you look for something, you will find it. Even in a relationship, be careful what you look for. You're going to find. You dig deep enough. Like my soul, I had with a woman I was with at one point, her brother-in-law said, the one thing I like about you, Chris, is no matter what anyone says, you've always tried to find the truth. You really do want to know what the truth is. So you keep looking for it. It'll pop up to you, man.
All right. So it's the Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita.
And so one of the things that has stuck with me, or one of the things that jumped out of that, then it stuck with me, well, because you had said earlier something about the book that you're talking about, that God says, I don't care if you believe in me or something like that.
I don't need you to believe in me.
I don't need you to believe in me. Well, one of the things that popped out, one of the verses was, to pray to any God is to pray to the one God. So the way that I took that particular, and by the way, I'm paraphrasing this particular passage.
Makes sense still,
whatever they call it. But basically, what I took from it was, listen, if you believe in that, if you believe in something else, God or gods, then, if there is that dynamic in the universe, then we likely don't understand it. So to call a God Yahweh, or call a God Zeus, or call a God whatever is, I was trying to Obatala, or Ishnu. Damn it. I'm trying to think of, yeah, whatever. Is like, good try, humans, or good try, sentient creature, but you're a little off.
But you're trying.
And to pray to any God is to pray to the one God.
And like I've said, I believe that we're all part of the all, man. And I think and I've said this, and I'm going to go on, and I'll never stop saying it. I believe that we are all like little itty bitty gods that we can create just like God creates, with our thought and then our words and then our action, just like this show.
And our seed. I mean, we can create children.
When two or more come together in my name, anything can happen. You know what I mean? And you and I came together, and we did something positive because we're talking about doing something positive. You wrote it down, and now look where we are. All
right. So
and as a matter of fact, let's go one step further. I remember I received a check in the mail, and I was feeling really good. I was in my vortex, when everything's going well, and you catch every light, and everything just seems to be right. So I remember getting, and like, man, you know what? And I said, Father God, thank you for giving me money coming through the mail on a continuous basis. Because what I'm going to do is, you do that, and then I'm going to go to these elementary schools, and I like to do 100 schools in a year. So if you allow that for me, I won't have to play these late night shows, and I can focus on children and blah, blah, blah. I said that, and where did I just come from? Oh, which means we should play the song. Can I run down and grab my guitar? Can we just do that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll be right back.
All right, Chris is going to go grab his guitar real quickly. And what he's talking about is last Thursday, he flew to Nashville to collaborate with country music artist Chase Rice. And he sent me a little portion of it via MP4 that night. And he said I couldn't play it, but, you know, here you go. Here, listen to it. So he's going to pick that out a little bit for you. Now, one of the cool things is, for those of you that are not, you don't know much about Chase Rice and his music, like I was saying earlier in the show, Chris, you know, he has this, you know, it's like this upbeat, you know, energy about him and rhythm, and in his music, you know, it's not that, you don't feel that dark, heavy, brooding feeling in your chest when you're listening to Chris's music. It's you know, it's, I don't say it's poppy, but, you know, it's you can tap your feet to it. And a little bit on the lighter side. Well, Chase Rice, I was listening to his music over the weekend, and there wasn't any songs that were in that, you know, in that category. So I'm very curious in how this song's ultimately going to sound once Chase Rice and the producers are done with it. They said they ended up getting the same people that did "Sober" from AJR. Which is a really cool song. I'd play it for you, but I'd get kicked off the internet. I don't have the rights to that kind of stuff. So Chris is going to grab his guitar and come back in here and handle that. And like I said, coming up on Wednesday's show, Holly's coming back. I feel like we had somebody booked. I book people, and then I forget to put them in the calendar. So then all of a sudden people show up at the studio and go, oh, that's right, you're coming in today.
Hoo-yah!
Well, when you were playing... Nikki, by the way, says, all right, you win, Chris. She's going to read the book.
Which Chris?
You. Because
I didn't win. You just won.
she says that she has issues like me. You know, 50% of the time, she's calm, cool, collected. The other 50% of the time, you know, she can let her emotions get the best of her. So she's going to read the book as well, which was Conversations with Gods.
Now, Nikki, I cannot wait for you to do this because I want... Yeah, just when you know, let us know how it's coming. Tell us the chapters.
Sharon, by the way, Chris. Sharon says, evolving is boring. Evolving is boring. Having a personality is awesome. Yelling in your car isn't being mean to anyone.
Mean to yourself.
Or maybe it's a cathartic release that I needed in that moment.
A lot of people tell me I look 25.
All right, before you get into this song, where did this song come from? Did you play Chase a few songs and then he settled on this one? Or when you guys were chatting up, like, hey, man, I got a song for you?
I was sitting on the tour bus. It's the end of the night. And I just had this nagging voice telling me, play that song. Now, had I left before, it wouldn't have happened. Now, Chase it's his quiet time. He's not really trying to do that, but it was like, hey, man, I think I got to do this. And he's like, all right. And I just played the verse and the chorus, and he was up like, yeah. And it spoke to him, and I just kind of like, I knew it. And I remember when, and you can ask my best friend Andrew this, I played it for him a year ago. And I remember telling him, I think I'm supposed to give this to Chase Rice a year ago.
What?
Ask him, call him, text him right now, he'll tell you.
I believe you.
Yeah. So it's no coincidence, man. I'm just saying. I think a lot of us are led by something, you know?
Yeah.
So here it is. I used to walk this road alone. I'm too used to being lonely. Where I rest my head is home. I ain't never met no one like me till like fantasy. One drink turned to two, got me looking at your baby blues. I'm living on a one-way life, I'm them lights up all night, every night. Oh, I wish I had my eyes on you. You'll be home and I'll be on the road. We'll be talking on the telephone. Hear it in your voice when you start to cry. Hold my breath when you say goodbye. Bye, 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 bye. Ooh, bye, 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 bye. Ooh, it's 2 a.m. and you look good, but what's a picture on a cracked screen? God, I hold you if I could. You made me wanna tell you bad things that make you blush red, heart skip a beat, staying in my head with the secrets under your sheets. Just one more night, Just one more flight, moves in my mind till I get my hands on you. You'll be home and I'll be on the road. We'll be talking on the telephone. Hear it in your voice when you start to cry. Hold my breath when you say goodbye. Bye, 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 bye. Ooh. Bye, 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 bye. Hello, goodbyes, and then you dry your eyes, and then I realize that there'll never be no one like you. Never be no one like you. There'll never be no one like you. You'll be home and I'll be on the road. We'll be talking on the telephone. Hear it in your voice when you start to cry. Hold my breath when you say goodbye. You'll be home and I'll be on the road. And we'll be talking on the telephone. Hear it in your voice when you start to cry. Hold my breath when you say goodbye. Bye, 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 bye. Ooh. Bye, 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 bye. Ooh.
Very nice.
Yay.
And yeah, so like I was saying, you know, that sounds nothing like anything that I've heard from Chase Rice so far. So it's going to be very curious to hear, you know, what they do with that song.
I can't wait, man. I just loved it, man. Just to be able to write and create. I've just been on fire, you know, just to be a part of something like that and to know that it's just going to make people happy. And I think intentions are very important. Your intentions, like my intention, again, I said, I prayed to, you know, God, I said, will you please, thank you. I didn't say, will you please, thank you for giving me a song that I can do this and blah, blah, blah. And so I just believe that that's what that is. And so how far it's going to go, well, we'll all wait and see. It'll be fun. Yeah. But, and
because
again, the
music
reason
industry,
is so
I mean, it is...
It's not a joke, dude.
Yeah, there's no guarantees, and I mean,
right? But what's a guarantee that I can do? I know that I can affect children in a positive way. I know I can do that. So if I can have some money coming in where I can just go and do that's what better. I mean, if that's what it is, man, that's great. Like imagine what you can do for the world. You know, just
what going back to
what do you guys? What are they saying? Are you guys liking it?
Yeah. Wait. See here.
Boo!
Well, no. Molly says Chase Rice. Yes. I think you should let the rice find you. Nikki says cool. But going back to the urine therapy discussion earlier, Elliot says I have never drank my own urine, but I have had warm Bud Lights. So.
Yeah, for real. We know we've all been there. Like, ooh.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being.
I drank urine before I actually wrote that song. That was giving me the power to cleanse everything up top. So I want to make you guys know that was my secret.
Seemed like a urine soaked hook.
Urine song.
Urine soaked hook you had there. We had such a good show today too.
We just ruined it.
all in one sentence. All right, so thank you so much for being a part of the Wake.Show today. Thank you, Chris. It was great to see you. We'll see you again tomorrow morning. Like I said, Molly will be coming in on Wednesday. We'll talk social media. And other than that, you know, be good to yourself. Be the change in the world that you want to see. Be kind to your fellow man. And most importantly, let your crazy breathe. Just a little. Whoops, wrong one.
You're crazy.
What's your password?